Suzelle asked us to talk today about why we give to UUCW.
You know, Lisa, that is a great question, and one we probably should have asked Suzelle before this morning. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that we're relatively new members here at UUCW.
I know, exactly. We've only been coming here for about a year and a half, and so it's not like we have years of experience that we can talk about. We've only been UUs for a year now. Before that, we were just lapsed Catholics.
True. But we can talk about how we have 3 kids in religious education here, how you've been an RE teacher this last year, and how our oldest son is now enrolled in the Our Whole Lives program.
Well, I thought maybe we could start with juggling.
Sure, juggling, right. Why juggling?
Well, because Suzelle asked us to talk about why we give to UUCW.
And what does juggling have to do with that?
Well, surprisingly a lot, actually. Did I ever tell you about the first time I attended a UU service?
I think you mentioned going once with a friend when you were younger.
Right, I was 6 years old and had a sleepover at a friend's house. So, growing up Catholic, my only experience with church was Mass, so naturally I thought church was something boring that only grown-ups like to do. So, when my friend's parents said, "Kids, it's time to go to church," I was expecting the usual fits and protests that I would normally mount on Sundays, but instead, my friend and her brother were actually excited about going to church. That was completely foreign to me. And so, sure enough, we went to her church, and the minister there engaged all of us kids with stories about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Susan B. Anthony, and he even juggled. That kind of thing never happened in Catholic church. Left quite an impression.
Well, apparently it left an impression, but what does that have to do with giving?
Well, for one thing, when you and I were looking for a spiritual community that would nurture the values that we hope to instill in our children, I knew it had to be a place that would appeal to our kids. It could not be a total snooze fest, or they would not want to go. It had to engage our kids just as that juggling minister had first won me over. And on a deeper level, it had to provide moral and ethical guidance to our kids while still giving them the space to develop their own points of view.
I see. So juggling, for you, represented that touchstone experience of being engaged in a religious community in which the worship needs of people of all ages were being met.
Exactly.
Because see, I thought you were going to suggest juggling as a metaphor for member giving, helping keep all the needs of the church afloat.
Oh, well, it could be that too.
See, as members of this community, we'd like our church to be safe and secure. And so, and building security, it needs resources. And we'd like it to be comfortable and inviting. So energy to heat the sanctuary, money to make capital improvements. Look, even the routine cleaning needs resources, right? We'd like our church to be beautiful. So the chancel table decorations, plantings outside in the landscape, and the music programs and the people who concept the beautiful music that we hear week in and week out. Well, that needs resources, right? We'd like our church to be community and social. So we're going to need the tables, we're going to need chairs, we need coffee, and we need events that help make us all come together in a more communal and social way. And most importantly, we'd like it to be inspiring and enlightening. And not just for us, but for our children. And we'd like it to be inspiring and enlightening for all of you, so that we have something that we can share together in fellowship. And so we need resources. Resources to pay Suzelle, to pay Lori, to pay Ruben and Maria, and everyone else that helps make UUCW inspiring and enlightening for all of us.
Scott, you know I'm a beginning juggler. How am I supposed to keep all of these stars and the metaphors they represent up in the air?
Well, with the help of a whole community, of course.
Ah, good point. All right, but in case we've lost them with all this juggling, perhaps we should just come out and say why we give to UUCW.
We give to UUCW because we became members. We joined an organization, rather a community. And in that act of joining, we made a commitment to contribute and do what we can to ensure that that community, our community, has the resources it needs to be all that we hope for and all that we'd like it to be. Thank you.